So, welcome to the latest episode. And as always, the plans each Monday come to you, chat, chairman. So, I'll always do a little bit on the game if there's been a game that weekend because it's useful to understand, see where it's at. But this isn't going to be a hey, this is reviewing, we won, we lost, what happened. Give you a little bit of insight into kind of what's happening behind the scenes. So, the game, we lost 3-0. It was quite even up until sort of last half an hour. Um, the other team pressed on, and it was a really light squad for us this week. We had 13 players. The squad's about 20, 21 at the moment. And part of that's just the season starts early. So it's one where players got families, and when you're not paying players, you can't be like, oh, you're not having a family holiday, you're not having this family engagement, we need you here. There's an element of give and take, and some teams in this league have got 70 players registered because it's a bit like almost a Sunday league team where, hey, they've got their core part of it, but players will roll in and out based on who's available. Whereas we've got quite a small squad, relatively speaking, in that aspect with 21, but lots of them are committed through the season. It's just there's 2 weeks at the start of the season where they said, look, we've got stuff going on, and we fully understand that. Maybe in the future, if they know, hey, this is when the season starts, it might be a bit different. But we're just happy with them being in the squad. So some of these guys, when they come back, really looking forward to it. Next week's going to be tough. Don't get me wrong. That's probably next Saturday, the best team in the league. They're expected, chatting to other teams, the favourites to go on and win it. But it's one where we can learn from that, see where we're at versus the best, because that's where we want to be in a year's time. But it's one, hopefully, over the next few weeks after that Bank Holiday Monday as well, being a home game, we'll start to see some points, some improvement. And that's going to be exciting. So we'll see that come. Don't be too downhearted if we get to next week and it's a third loss. I'm not concerned at this stage. I'm still chatting to members of the committee even today, just pulling some information together, making sure we're prepared for going up in 2 years' time. That remains my ambition, the ambition of the committee, the ambition of the managers, looking at sort of, hey, this year is about finding our feet. When we were applying and looking for leagues, we're expected to be at least one league lower, minimum. Never through this process some of the really early stuff, but from the January meeting onwards, never in that point did we envisage we were going to be playing in the 11th tier of English football this year. It was a question of, hey, can we get into the 12th tier of English football? It's the goal. We were accepting that it might be the 13th, but we never prepared for 11th. So that comes with its challenges, but it's exciting challenges. Part of me would rather we're in this league competing and knowing what's required in a year's time than we started in division, even just one division lower, win the league, and then it's like, oh, actually, it's going to be really hard next year because there's a step up in requirement and sort of the squads are better, everything like that. It's better, even if it's just a mid-table finish year one, get that experience and then use that to press on into year two. So no concern from me. You'll see squad coming in and out. And if you're an owner, get on Slack. So Slack is the owners only forum. Kev, our manager, in there on the Sunday, just dropping a nice message in. But it's really useful because it allows them just to communicate with owners, and that two-way. There's several players in there. It's a really really good environment, and sort of like last week when one of our players got injured, owners asking, "Hey, how's it going?" And then the players able to jump in there and go, "Actually, I'm feeling all right." So Owen was at the game, and yeah, he's on his way to recovery, and that's really really good to see. So attendance numbers. So last week we were away. There was about 45 to 50 of people from East Thurrock there, which was really, really good to see. That was only counting away fans, so I weren't counting everyone. I didn't have a chance to do that. I was more just minded of like, oh, how many people did we get up there? And that was really, really good to see 50 people there. The attendance at Saturday, so our first ever home competitive game, was 170. So 170. Really, really chuffed with that because as far as I'm aware, West Ham, I'm horrendous at keeping an eye on Premier League fixtures. As far as I'm aware, West Ham are at home. You could always tell when West Ham are at home when East Thurrock United, regardless of when we're in the National League South, West Ham are at home, you would see about a 20% drop in attendance. The reason for that is you've got lots of people where East Thurrock's their second club, they go to West Ham. Spoke to a few season ticket holders, one's Spurs, one's West Ham, and they said, look, shows what this club is and what it means to people like us. We decided to come to East Thurrock because it's the first competitive game rather than go to these Premier League clubs that we've got season tickets for. And that's really touching to chat to fans and hear that because they're really grateful to what they've seen. So in terms of attendance, great attendance to start with. Again, attendances will go up once we hit September. School holidays are out of the way, and that stuff starts moving. In terms of sort of people watching, because it's not just people that turn up. VO Live is the live stream the games. The games then stay on there for 2 weeks, so people after the game can still go on there and watch it back. Last week, even now, so a week later from anyone that's watched it during the game or after, 206 people for last week's game. Already, we're talking a day, just over 24 hours after kickoff. 282 people have watched our second game. So that's really interesting. So we're seeing a growth in people going and finding the online stream and watching it. So that's up about 80. And then obviously that's a whole nother week of people that could go on there and inflate that number. So that's really good. If you've not got it, it's on Apple, it's on Android. You can find it anywhere. I'm sure you can live stream onto a computer as well if you don't have a smartphone. But VO Live is the app, VEO. There's no cost. You just put in your email address and then you can register East Thurrock as the club you follow. And then what will happen is every time we live stream a game, it will just send you a notification if your notifications are on, just to prompt you and say, hey, you can watch it. So we had one of our committee members, Gary, last week. He had his feet up by the pool in Fuerteventura. I'm 99% sure that was Canary Islands he was on. If I got the wrong one, Gary, I apologise. And he was sat there watching the game. And he can be somewhere else in the world, sat there enjoying East Thurrock. And that is fantastic to hear. So we can live stream up to, this is the this is the highest level where you can live stream, because once you go up into the top 10 tiers, you're not allowed due to the 3 o'clock TV blackout. So it's one that will make the most of it. And then whenever time comes, we'll go up. Whether VO have developed the technology to do like we'll live stream, but you can't watch it in the UK unless you've got a VPN. But that's up to you. That's nothing to do with us. Or we have to put it onto YouTube at that stage, and then we can do the rules on YouTube to say, hey, if you're in this country, you can't watch it. So that's there. In terms of the full match rewatch, so day after the game, I actually did it same day this week, so it went up Saturday night because I just had a chance. Depends. The better the result, the more I drink, the more likely it's happen the next day. But once you get home, have to have Wi-Fi for it. It downloads off the camera and puts it into the system. It then runs a check on it, and we can then download the game in full. So once we download the game in full, we'll upload that to YouTube. So you can go and watch the full match on there. And then last week we've had 185 people in total, and we're talking like less than maybe 18 hours since it's uploaded. We're up to 25 have watched the full match at this stage, but I'm sure that's going to go up over the week. And then in terms of the highlights package, I don't sit there and clip these highlights. VO has the technology that says, hey, these are what they dub shots on target. They might not be shots on target, but it's what they call a shot on target. And I'm happy to roll with them. So 248 people watched our highlights package last week. At the moment, we're up to 53, but I have no doubt we're going to catch that up and we're going to go for it. So they're all on YouTube. So if you're interested in watching the highlights package, jump over to YouTube. The goal is always to get it up by the end of Sunday night. There might be a few weeks, maybe I'm on holiday, someone's on holiday and can't do it, but the goal is always on our side. We want to try get the footage up there by Sunday evening. So if we look at total attendance for how many of our fans went away, how many people have watched the game either on VO Live, full match and highlights, 869 people last week. And in terms of this week so far, with 170 that were there, 282 that watched on VO Live, anyone that's gone onto YouTube, we're up to 530. So by the time we get to the end of this week, we could easily be talking about 1,000. That's phenomenal. This is a football club's second ever game, and 1,000 people are either at the game, watching it live, rewatching the game in full, or watching the highlights package. That is ridiculous numbers, and I think we'll get there. We're at 5:30 now. If you give a week people to watch it online, that's going to keep going up. But if we're regularly getting between people at the game and watching it online or however they do it, if we're talking about 1,000 plus every single week, that is phenomenal for a club in the 11th tier of English football, just getting its feet on the ground. So genuinely, really, really exciting. Thank you everyone for their support. Today as well, this is Sunday, I'm recording it, we had an owner from Spain join. So it's our second owner from Spain, meaning that they go to number 3 on the countries with the most owners. So that's there. The only reason I just paused a second ago, I had a moment where I was like, I forgot to press record, but good news, I've actually did press record. So tomorrow, because you'll listen to this on Monday, I'll record it on Sunday. It's the magic of how it goes out at sort of 6:30 or in the morning. What will happen is we have our committee meeting. So we have the owners meeting on the first Monday of every month. The third Monday of each month is committee. So we've got some new positions. We want to expand the committee. So next owners meeting, I'm going to go through all of that. We're going to finalize our committee meeting tomorrow, but we'll run through it at the owners meeting. And what we want to do is just add a few more spots to the committee, because that just brings some more people in, some different skill sets. But if you're interested in potentially joining the committee, we'll run through the roles there, and by all means, keen for people to get on board. And in terms of volunteering, so it was great to meet him. We go back to last week. We had one of our fans over from Australia, Toza. He's connected with the Edwards. So God parent. I'm rubbish with terminologies. John O, who's vice chairman. And then this week, we had someone drive all the way from Wales to watch the game, jumped in their car afterwards and went home. So that's Andy Wooding, and phenomenal. Massive thank you for him for coming. So 2 for 2. We've had 2 games and we have had 2 international visitors coming and watching East Thurrock, who are both owners. And just someone that proves that he's living all the way in Wales, still committed to the club, born and raised in this area. So that's why the connection comes. Definitely raised. I don't know if he's born here, but it's same vibe. One of the things he said, is how could I help out? And it's like, he's like mindful that he lives far away, but he auditor. So he's able to, we need to independently verify the numbers and stuff we come up with before we submit to the FSA, and then the Financial Conduct Authority after each financial year. Perfect. So I said, hey, link Sean in, our treasurer, with him. And I said, hey, can we send the stuff to you? You verify. And he was like, yeah, of course. We'll help out with that. And it's something that we're not asking for loads of time, but all we need to find is, if you're sat there and you're thinking, oh, I wish I could help out, just think one thing you can offer. Doesn't have to be even on a regular basis. If you just said, oh, I'm going to help out with this one thing, whatever it might be, if you can just bring something to the table and make someone's life on the committee, another volunteer's life, just a little bit easier, that makes the world of difference. We are not asking for people to go, oh, I'm going to give 5 hours a week to help the club. If you can, we would love that. But if you can go, actually, I can give an hour once a month, that's useful. And if you just don't know how you can help out, just throw it open and go, hey, here's kind of my skill set. What do you think? Could be a builder. So, for instance, we need some help doing some slight changes to the dressing rooms to allow us to use these facilities as we go up the leagues. And we've got to add like a screen in with where the showers are. So, because it has to be segregated showers, and we're having to use an additional room that is not kind of meant for us at the minute. But if we can put up a couple of screens in where the showers are, we can use the facilities and we're not infringing on spaces we shouldn't be using. So it's one that could be something where you could go, actually, we're not asking you to give a load of free tools, free everything. You might just say, hey, I'm going to come in and just tell you what needs doing. And that's useful enough for us. So if there's anything you can do, just reach out to any of us on the committee, drop an email to eastthurrockcfc@gmail.com. Just let us know. any help we can get is so greatly appreciated. And it could be the smallest, and you could think it's so small, it's insignificant. It means the world to us. Honestly does. Um, so next month, we're adding more committees. Keep an eye out at the owners' meeting. There's going to be some votes. So there's some interesting stuff all going to get finalised in terms of the proposal we're putting to owners at the next committee meeting tomorrow. But there's going to be a vote on something. So keep an eye out there. If you're players, you'll like what we're proposing. So always a nice bit coming down the line. But I'm not going to spoil the surprise. Going to have to keep an eye out for the owners' meeting. And obviously, day after the owners' meeting, we send out the Tuesday email. So if you can't make the owners' meeting, we do a digital one at 6:30. We do at 6. Then we do a face-to-face. 6 till 6:30 is the digital one. We record that as well. So then we email it out. So if you can't make it, don't worry, because we know there's people dotted all over the world, which is phenomenal. But then we also do the face-to-face one at 7:30. So you've got the 7:30. Let me double check that. I'm having a moment. So yeah, it's 6 till 6:30 is the digital one. 7:30 till 9 is the face-to-face one. Be honest, it never runs till 9. I'd say it's about 30, 45 minutes. Obviously, we do questions in there, but it just allows each committee member to stand up and go, hey, here's what I'm working on the last month. Here's where I'm going, what's happened. Because those are about taking you behind the scenes and explaining what's coming, what we're doing. And like last month, we went through like all the stadium requirements we'd need to go up and get promoted, and just taking questions and explaining our vision of, well, what's it need to get there. So it wasn't something we had planned to run through, but one of the owners just went, oh, do you mind just telling me what you need and what's going to happen? I was like, hey, let's just throw it up. And that's what we pledged with transparency. And that's exactly what we did. In terms of emails, we passed the free threshold on MailChimp for our Tuesday owners email. Still using it for the Friday fans one, but for the Tuesday owners one, and we moved to a new system. The issue is it's dropped into a lot of people's spam boxes. So if you're an owner and you didn't see the last Tuesday email, just go and check your spam box, mark not spam, and then it will move to your inbox. And the more people that do that, it just helps move it always to the inbox. So fingers crossed, we're going to try it again this week. If we still get reports back that people didn't get it or they can't find it in their spam, there's only been a couple of people that had that issue. We'll then look at something else. Mate, I don't want to pay the £16 a month roughly that MailChimp needs for us to do 500 emails a week. But if that's the only option, we'll consider it as a committee. But we prefer keep the money in the football. Obviously, we're well aware we have to send out weekly emails. There's a requirement. There's a big benefit to what we do with that. But we'll see what we can do. But yeah, keep an eye out. If you're an owner, check your spam. If you didn't get the Tuesday email, mark not spam. And then let us know. If you don't get the email this Tuesday, please send an email to me. We'll then investigate it. I'll always forward on because we keep that. So you're not putting any stress on me. I will forward it on to the email. That's perfectly fine. But we just want to know, because if it is successful, it's great. This thing allows us to go up to 2,500 emails a week that we can do. And if we've got a problem that we've got 2,501 owners, I will happily go and pay for a mailing system, because we're bringing in 150,000 a year in terms of ownership. It's a great problem to have. I think I can afford £50 a month in sending out mail if we're bringing in 150 grand in ownership a year. So no, nice problem to have. But ideally, everything we can at the moment, keep it free. Because we want to build up the funds, but I'll talk more about that in future. We want to make sure the money's there as we move through the leagues, almost like a year in advance. But just as always, up the rocks. Thank you for your support and ridiculous numbers. 869 people last week for an away game tuned in, watched it in some format or another. This week, 530, but I'm sure when I'm sat here chatting next week, that number, I'm crossing my fingers that we might get close to 1,000, and I reckon we'll cross 1,000 at some point soon. So thanks so much for your continued support wherever you are in the world. If you're watching this, become an owner. £5 a month, 50 quid a year. Just do it. And we'll send you those weekly emails with every pound, penny that comes in and goes out the club, really take you behind the scenes of football. So you're not getting this level of transparency anywhere else. We're always going to be this way. We want to be super transparent. And I'd rather tell you everything and think, well, should we really tell them that? I'd rather tell you because we've got nothing to hide. We're proud of what we've built. We think we've made the right decision every turn. And there will be times where we make the wrong decision, but we want to bring you in that decision making process. So if there's something where you think, oh, maybe we should have done that differently, maybe you sit there at home and you think, oh, guys, have you thought about that? Send us your ideas. Do not hesitate to send us stuff and go, oh, have you thought about this? And it might be something where we say, actually, we have, but we think that's going to be year 2, year 3, or down the line. But we keep adding more ideas on our plate. We'll rise to the challenge. And if you can volunteer, even if it's just something small, let us know. It could be video editing. You can do that anywhere in the world. We can send you the footage. You can download it. You can edit it. You can upload it. Whatever it might be, let us know. Up the rocks, and let's just keep on growing and having a blast. Thanks a lot.